No. Every once in a while somebody raises their hand, but nobody in this room raised their hand. But that's the practical decision that you're making. It's a mercenary relationship. You're not personally doing it. But each time you choose to eat chicken or pork or beef, you are effectively throwing away the vast majority of the caloric inputs of that food. They end up the butt of late-night jokes because Al Gore, after going on the Atkins diet, ballooned to the size of a small whale. Bill Clinton ended up getting triple bypass surgery, which is why the American Heart Association calls the Atkins diet the make yourself sick diet. The more animal products you eat, the less healthy you will be. And I haven't quite figured out a good segue for this slide, but I just like it. Anyway, the health argument for veganism isn't exactly a moral argument, but it does say that if you care about the environment, the only reason you would be eating meat is because you like it. It's certainly not good for you. If you care about global poverty, the only reason you could be eating meat is because you like it. It's certainly not good for you. So for those two reasons, even if you don't care about animals, a vegan diet is a moral imperative. So I've been a vegan for 5 or 6 years before I even got the animal component. I was running the largest soup kitchen in Washington, D.C. for about 6 years before I came to work at PETA and a homeless shelter for families. It was loosely affiliated with the Catholic Church. And I've been there for years when I came across this book called Christianity and the Rights of Animals by an Anglican theologian and professor of theology at Oxford University. And his argument is pretty ecumenical. It's for people of any religion or no religion. He puts it in sort of Christian terms, but I think it makes sense to really anybody who's trying to lead an ethical life. And it's pretty simple. He says, ethical people, people of integrity, when we have a choice between doing something that adds to the level of cruelty in the world or something that adds to the level of compassion in the world, every single time, ethical people choose compassion. When we have a choice between doing something that adds to the level of mercy in the world or the level of misery in the world, every single time, ethical people choose mercy. And then he goes into the degree to which animals suffer on factory farms and slaughterhouses, in circus training camps, in hunting and fishing. And he says, for people of integrity, he puts it people of faith, these are issues that should concern us. And the fact that we're not confronted with it on a daily basis, the fact that when you go to KFC and order a bucket of chicken, they don't say, here are the external costs, here's the suffering, here's the global poverty, here's the environmental harm, makes it all the more important that people of ethics, people of integrity, that we go out of our way to learn what's happening. He makes the very real point, cogent point. You can combat this point. Please stand up and question and answer. And I'd be interested in hearing it, because nobody has yet. But there's no difference between eating a cat and a chicken. Ethically speaking, you can't come up with a cogent argument for why eating a cat is any different from eating a chicken, or why eating a dog is any different from eating a pig. Would anybody in here eat the cat in the upper left-hand corner? Her name is Gracie. She's perfect. She looks awfully edible. Any takers? Not that I'm offering. There's almost always at least a few. So we have a few people who would eat Gracie. We can talk afterwards. You're in trouble. But, so there's at least some ethical integrity in saying, yes, I eat a cat. And consequently, it's okay for me to eat a chicken. The people who would not eat a cat or would not eat a dog are in a world of hurt, explaining what the difference is, philosophically, ethically, for people of integrity between eating the cat and eating the chicken, between eating the dog and eating the pig. Because in fact, on cognition tests, the one thing anybody ever comes up with is, chickens are stupid or pigs are stupid. In fact, on cognition tests, chickens and pigs do quite a bit better than dogs or cats. Both chickens and pigs have a capacity for foresight. Pigs play video games better than 3-year-old children and better than chimpanzees. And we've got video of this. It is the cutest thing other than Gracie in the world. If you go to goveg.com or PETATV.com and scroll down to educational videos, you can see chickens navigating mazes, chickens learning from one another and learning from television, pigs playing video games. They put the joystick in their mouth and control the cursor like that is awesome. But their cognitive level, according to animal behaviorists, is approximately that of a 4-year-old human child. Chickens have cognitive abilities beyond 1-year-old human children. So really, if you wouldn't eat a dog or a cat, there's no cogent argument for why it's acceptable to eat a chicken or a pig or a cow or a fish. That, and then just the basic argument of basic integrity is what did it for me. I know we have some people in the audience who would slit animals' throats open. My hunch is that most of you wouldn't want to spend some time in a slaughterhouse slicing chickens' throats open. But let's get a show of hands. How many people here would be willing to work for an afternoon slitting chickens' throats open? It's a smaller proportion than I thought. For those of you who wouldn't do that, it's worth asking why you think it's acceptable to pay other people to do that. I mean, for me, the argument of basic integrity is I don't want to pay other people to do things that I wouldn't do personally. I have about a dozen of this shirt. It says, "Ask me why I'm a vegetarian." And I love the shirt because even people who don't ask, and I'm walking, getting onto Amtrak or walking around the mall or whatever else, and everybody sees it, and so their synapses flare, and they have to think about why I might be a vegetarian. But a lot of people do ask, and I try to get around in the conversation as quickly as possible. I start with, "Thanks for asking, are you a vegetarian?" Almost inevitably it's no. "Well, what do you think of slaughtering animals?" "Well, I wouldn't personally slaughter animals." "Well, you know that you're paying people to slaughter animals for you, right? If you're eating meat." Percy Bysshe Shelley said about his vegetarianism, "I want no part of anything I can't write a pleasant poem about." I can't write a pleasant poem about anything. I'm not a poet, but I like the concept. I want no part of anything I can't write a pleasant poem about. Every aspect of getting beans and grains and fruits and vegetables to the table, everybody in this room could take part in. But about 95% of you did not raise your hand for, "I'd be happy to slice animals' throats open." So where is the basic integrity in paying people to do something unnecessary that not only do most of us not want to do it, most of us don't even want to watch it. And not only do most of us not want to watch it, most of us don't even want to think about it. And yet every time we sit down to eat, if we're choosing to eat meat, we're basically saying, "Yes, this is okay with me. I would like to pay you to do this to animals." It's actually quite a bit worse, though, than simple slaughter. I mean, chickens are probably the most abused animals on the face of the planet, which is why the slide is titled that way. We slaughter about 100 times as many chickens as pigs in this country. We slaughter about 200 times as many chickens as cattle. For anybody who's going to go incrementally vegetarian, most people do this in exactly the wrong direction. If you're going to go incrementally vegetarian, give up the small animals first, not the big animals. Take you a while to knock out a cow, whereas you can knock out, a chicken has 2 wings. You eat 2 wings, boom, you just killed a chicken, right? And the level of abuse, certainly for cattle and pigs, it's felony level if we did it to dogs or cats. For chickens, as Alice Walker said, eating chickens is eating misery. Chickens now grow their upper body more than 6 times as quickly as they did just 50 years ago. They suffer from, according to the industry, death losses of 1% per week. Imagine any conditions that kill 1% of a population every single week. Their lungs fail, their hearts collapse, their legs cripple at a rate of 1% per week. They're cooped in their own excrement, 30 to 50,000 birds. That's what a chicken shed looks like. 1% of them dying per week. Dozens every single day in that shed. Breast blisters from being unable to walk, just laying and living in their own excrement. The level of abuse is really beyond the pale. Of course, for pigs, they're castrated without pain relief. Their teeth are ripped out without pain relief. For cattle, they're inflicted with 3rd-degree burns without pain relief. They're put on a cycle of impregnation and having their babies taken away from them. I mean, it's all bad. But chickens, turkeys, and fish certainly get it the worst. And this is the question, would you slit their throats? I want to show about 2 minutes of a video. It's narrated by Alec Baldwin. It's called Meet Your Meat. PETA is anti-copyright. You can download this for free and distribute it however you like at meetyourmeat.com online. I'm just going to show about 2 minutes because our time is short, but I do encourage everybody who eats meat especially to take the time to watch the entire video. So at least if you're going to eat meat, you're informed about what you're supporting.